Hello, everyone. This is the Town of Moraga regular meeting agenda. It's Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. It's 6:30 exactly. We are in the council chambers, which is 335 Ream, and I'm calling to order Vice Mayor Walicki. Here? Okay.
Here. I'm sorry.
Councilmember Hillis.
Here.
Councilmember Shapiro is not here, and Councilmember Sauce.
Here.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. Would Nania? What? Nana. Okay. And Claire, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is special announcements, and we have none. Presentation. We have Moraga Youth Involvement Committee here, and that's Nana and Clara.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Nana. I am a senior at Camp Lindo High School right now, and I'm also the chairperson of the Moraga Youth Involvement Committee.
My name is Clara. I'm a junior at Camp Lindo High School, and I'm the vice chairperson of the Moraga Youth Involvement Committee.
Okay, so basically here's a little backstory to who we are. So we are an offshoot of the town council. We are the youth division, and we are composed of 22 members in this current term. And this is just a picture of our new members getting sworn in at the beginning of this term. And we're composed of middle and high school students from across the Acalanes Union High School District and the Moraga School District. And in order to get onto our council, you have to submit an application to Miss Jasmine, and then you have to interview with her. And so we have regular meetings the second Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Hacienda. So that's where you'll find us if you ever want to pop into one of our meetings. And basically our purpose is to provide the youth of Moraga with opportunities for civic involvement and civic engagement, and also to advise you on any youth-related issues if you would wish. Okay, so now on to some of our previous projects that we've done in this current term.
Okay, so first we had a mud ball event. So I help run the sustainability subcommittee, and Mayor Onoda came to us with the idea for mud balls, and they're basically like little balls of dirt with seeds, and she created this idea to like help bring native plants back to Moraga. So one weekend we made them in the Parks and Recs Center, and then the next weekend we threw them at West Commons, and Mayor Onoda was there, and so was Councilmember Sauce, and it was really fun, and we had a good time.
Okay, so the annual tree lighting ceremony, we run a hot chocolate station, like a booth, under the tree, and we do that every year. And this past Christmas, we actually set out a donation tray for the MYIC, and we received around $200, which was pretty cool. Yeah, that's a picture of us in the bottom left corner at this event. And then Teddy Bear Tea.
So for Teddy Bear Tea, it's an event that we run every year, and it's in the morning, and we just like have little kids and their families come, and we make them teddy bears, or sometimes we just give them to them, and we basically are in charge of just like helping people, directing people, and it's a cute little event. And Breakfast with Santa is also an annual event that we do, and same thing for that. We are also in charge of directing people and helping people, and yeah.
Okay, and then we recently, I think in around November or October, we did a project just within the MYIC. It's cards for the George Marks Children's House. So basically this nonprofit organization called Mindful Littles reached out to us, and they asked us if we would be willing to make a few hundred Christmas cards for hospice children at the George Marks Children's House. And so the MYIC just got together and we just made a few hundred cards and we shipped that off. So that was something we did in around October, November. And then just recently, our most recent project actually, it's been really exciting. We have been in correspondence with the Orinda Teen Advisory Council, which is kind of like our equivalent in Orinda. And we in March, at the end of March, we had a joint meeting with them at the Orinda Community Center. And, we did icebreakers, we got to know each other a little bit. And then we planned a big project, which I'll talk about in another slide. Okay, and then here are our upcoming plans.
Okay, so as part of the sustainability subcommittee again, we're trying to organize a trail cleanup. This has been done in past years, but it hasn't been done in a couple years. We're not really sure what trail to do it yet because we're still in the beginning stages of planning. But yeah, trail cleanup and probably also some brush clearing because that's a fire hazard.
And then yes, so the OTAC and the MYSC decided that we wanted to do an Orinda Moraga teen pickleball tournament. And so we actually have chosen a day for that already, April 28th, and we booked out the Orinda tennis courts because they also turn into pickleball courts at certain hours. And we are still also in the beginning stages of planning that, but right now we're working on finding the correct equipment, and then we're going to move to advertising and getting people to join, and we're going to make a bracket. So, if you guys would want to come to that, we would really appreciate your support at that as well. But yes, that's going to be April 28th. And then we've also been working on this project with the local senior homes. We want to one of our subcommittees is basically planning a teen senior home joint event where the teens are going to make flower bouquets, arrange flower bouquets with senior citizens. And so we're just starting working on getting the logistics of that figured out, but we do have a day on the calendar, which is April 27th, and we have a time as well. And yeah, it's April 27th, 10:45 a.m. at Moraga Royale, in case anyone wants to show up to that.
And that's our intergenerational subcommittee.
Yes, that is the subcommittee that is working on that project. And then last but not least is Moraga's 50th anniversary, and we have had a little hand in that. One of our subcommittees has been communicating directly with Mayor Inoda, and some ideas or some things that we as the youth are contributing to that parade is we're trying to invite the Camp Lindo cheer team to walk in the parade, and then also the Camp Lindo Cougar mascot to be there as well. Yeah. And so those are all our upcoming plans. And then here's how to get involved if you would like. So if you could promote the MYSC events within your lines of advertising and communicating, and then also attend the NYSC events, and we can send more information to you about where our events are being held and things like that.
And then you can help us connect if you have some plans or some events that you think that would be great for us to participate in, or if you want to connect us with some organizations that you think would be helpful to us. We'd love it if you do that. And you can also use us for feedback on future projects. If you'd like us to help with something, just reach out to us or come to a meeting, and yeah, we'd love it.
And yeah, that was all. Thank you so much for your attention and continued support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Moraga Youth Involvement?
We have comments.
Okay, next, are there any comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Can I go first?
Please.
Thank you both for coming. Thank you for an excellent presentation. And what really strikes me is two things. One is that you all are instilling at an early stage in life the passion for and commitment to community service and making whatever community you're in a better place. You happen to be here now and you're making it a better place. You're going somewhere to college, presumably you'll make that a better place, and then so on and so forth. So thank you both. And secondly, every year this committee gets bolder and more active in a very positive way, and I mean bold in a good way. So thank you for your initiative. Thank you for thinking outside the box and coming up with great new ideas. And as to the pickleball tournament, I'm not sure you want to invite us to play in it. So just a note of caution. We're happy to come and cheer, but
You mean you're going to beat all the teens?
can
Is that why?
oh, is it just for teens?
No, but it's being marketed that way, but I think we can let anybody.
We could
in.
have some line jumps.
You can let old people like us come? Okay, except not speaking for Carrie. All right, thank you so much. Great to see
We
you.
appreciate that.
Anybody else comment? Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Ditto everything that Renata said, and maybe I missed it. How many are in the group at this point?
22.
22.
Yes.
And I just really want to commend you because not only are you yourselves bettering yourselves, but it's got to be contributing and helping out the other students at Camp Lindo. And I think there is general concern that we're all too connected to our cell phones and social media, and anything that can be done to keep people away from it is a great thing. Thank you.
Carrie?
So I would just recommend that to your resumes, you add presentations to public bodies, because you've now done that as part of your role with the Moraga Youth Involvement Committee. So what did you say again your the involvement was with the teddy bear tea and the Santa breakfast?
So basically, we just like help direct people. We used to like back before Wedgwood weddings, we would actually help like pour the drinks and like give the food and stuff. But now we just like clean up and yeah, we just direct people.
Well, I'm thanking you for that because my now 2-year-old, now 5-year-old, and now 6-year-old participated in the Santa breakfast. We've yet to actually get them to sit with Santa once. They scream, but we definitely appreciate the event, and we got close to Santa. And my daughters participated in the teddy bear tea. So thank you for all of your involvement. The fact that you're doing this at your age, that you actually are interested in getting involved in bettering your community is commendable. We have a hard time convincing adults to get involved in volunteering for our community. So thank you so much. It's really valued, and these are skills that really will help you later on in life. So I only was partly joking about adding presentation to your resume. You really should.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been a really rewarding experience, and it's honestly taught me that I love doing community involvement and making policies that better community. So I think in college I want to study public policy. So yeah, this is something that's really helped me figure that out about myself.
I have a master's in public policy, as I think the town manager does as well. So if you'd like to talk to either one of us.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I think I'm going to double major in astrophysics. And yeah.
Yeah. One thing that you folks haven't seen that I've been able to see is this group. First of all, they're smart, they're engaged, they're happy. They're there, to create wonderful things. And I think this year's group, because I've done this a couple years, a couple of the kids said that they wanted to do multi-generational. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty rare. Yeah. You don't usually see that. Yeah. And I've been so impressed by every single one of you, 22 people. And that number is huge. Yes. Is it the largest number we've had? It is. Yeah. So thank you very much, and keep going.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next. Oh, yes, let's do a photo. Absolutely.
You look great. You look great too. I hope the mic caught that.
You go first.
Here first. 2, 3. One more time. Thank you. All right, hold on. Official. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Nice job, Ms.
Great
Johnson.
job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, get official city town of Pelton. Like your parents still there?
Yes, please. Yes. Yes, I will. Absolutely.
Is there any public comment on Moraga Youth Involvement, the presentation we just saw? Okay, moving right along. Next is public communication, and this is time reserved for those in the audience who wish to address the town council on items that are not on the agenda. The council cannot discuss details or vote on the items not on the agenda. Your concerns may be referred to staff. Public input will also be taken during each agenda item. Is there any public comment? And introduce yourself and
Good evening, council members. Thank you for having us and allowing us to speak here. My name is Tennyson Wilson. I am one of the co-founders of the Town FC. We are a new professional soccer organization that is coming to Moraga, and we'll be playing our home games at St. Mary's College. Very excited to be here today and introduce you to us if you're not familiar with us. We've been around since early 2022. Recently, we became the affiliate of the San Jose Earthquakes MLS Next Pro team. So we will be working essentially, if you're familiar with AAA baseball teams or the G League in basketball, so the Santa Cruz Warriors. That's essentially who we are now for the San Jose Earthquakes, located right here in Moraga. We're really excited about the opportunity to both support and grow with the community, but also have this connection down with such a great organization in San Jose. I think one of the things that we really started and founded this club on was really the basis of community and what soccer can do to help bring community together and help bridge communities. So I think there's also a huge need for the ability to foster athletes, both younger and older, some of those who have maybe moved on but would still like to play. So everything we've done over the last 2 years has pretty much been focused on community. How can we help support youth organizations? How can we set up tournaments for adults or rec leagues for adults who want to play? How can we even just open up gyms, indoor soccer gyms, and allow kids to come out and play in a safe environment for free? Now that we've finally formed this relationships with the Earthquakes, we're taking this into the next phase here, which is obviously bringing professional soccer to the town of Moraga. We're really focused on trying to create a memorable and engaging experience for fans and athletes alike. For the MLS Next Pro team, they typically play down at PayPal Stadium in San Jose, and they might get 30 or 50 people that show up. They're really talented athletes, these under 23 athletes, and sometimes they play up on the first team, so we want to be able to try to create some of that environment and that experience for them, both from the fans that are attending, but also from just the overall media experience and some of the face of marketing and some of the pieces that they maybe didn't get to experience and feel before. So, with this, what we're really asking for you is your support, both as we, bridge this into the community and we look at different ways of trying to support the community, but also as we look to grow. Our current relationship right now with St. Mary's is the next 5 years to play in that stadium. We'll be working on a number of different upgrades for the stadium as well to try to help with both all the fan experience as well as athletes and students on campus. We're trying to create a really, really unique food experience for the games as well, and one of our board members is a restaurateur and has a number of different restaurants, so everything from your hot dogs and pizza up to potentially some Michelin star chefs having some experiences for the audience. So as we continue to expand in the community, we just hope you'll be there to support us, help get the word out, help spread the word. We certainly would love to connect with the MYIC group as well and see how we might be able to support them in terms of athletes' appearances and helping if there's, working on trail rehabs or anything like that. We would certainly love to get involved, but make sure that we are starting in the community and continuing to focus on the community as we look at how we build this organization out and become part of Moraga.
thank you. Usually we don't ask questions of people who, come for public comment, but I think I'll make an exception. Are there any questions for him? Yes? Comments? Oh, no, actually, I was thinking questions. Any questions?
So I didn't hear if you said it. Did you mention season tickets, individual ticket purchases, when the first home game is in Moraga, and who you're going to be playing against?
You bet. Didn't want to pitch anybody on tickets necessarily. We hope you'll definitely follow suit and support us. If you go to thetownfc.com, you can take a look at tickets there that are available as well as season passes. I do encourage checking out the season passes because each season pass does come with 2 free children admissions as well. So there's a nice bonus deal in there for all 11 home games as well as 3 games that we'll be playing down at PayPal Park in San Jose. We will be playing our very first game at St. Mary's College on May 3rd. We've got 3 games coming up in May, so May 3rd, May 12th, and May 19th. That first game is on a Friday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. Most of the kickoff times will be around 5 p.m. As you all probably know, there's no lights at the stadium yet, but that is one of the pieces that we'll be working on with the college, so kickoff time around 5 p.m. to make sure that we can get it done before it gets too dark out there.
Good. Any other questions?
One more comment, or a comment to follow up, and I would suggest that you talk to the redheaded gentleman in the back as sponsorship opportunities may be a discussion.
Awesome.
Okay. Any comments? Renata?
Tennyson, Benno, thanks for coming. Great to see you guys. You know, the timing and the synergy on this is perfect.
Yeah.
Because I think Town Football Club, professional athletics in my mic is on, athletics in Moraga, the time is ripe for that. And it's certainly part of the future economic vitality of this community. So thank you for making a bet on this community. Thank you for focusing your considerable energies and entrepreneurial spirit to us. And I think this community will support you. I think this community is very much looking forward to embracing this team and making it part of this large family that we have here in Moraga. So very much appreciate your efforts. We are here to support you, to advertise, use our methods of communication, and to come to the games. Very much looking forward to it. And also, whatever we can do to help continue connecting you with our business community, we're here to help.
Thank you. Yeah, we certainly appreciate any connections. Scott has been a tremendous help when we hosted a game back in August and helping to get the word out, so we appreciate that very much with anything sponsorships, local businesses, in-kind trade. We're open to all sorts of conversations. And I forgot to mention, my crest isn't here on this one. Ben, if you could stand up here, you can see the crest here. We did take quite a bit of inspiration from the Moraga crest as well.
Nice.
The sun representing the east side, the sunny side of the bay, the west side, as well as the waterways that we know are all around us and just such amazing outdoor spaces as well. So.
Steve, did you want to say something?
Sure. I enjoyed the game in August.
Thank you.
And it's great to see that the St. Mary's former football stadium unquotes is being used again, and I hope that it continues to be filled like we had in August. I also and I wish you guys the best of luck. I pledge my support, especially. Have you guys heard of this thing called Ted Lasso? I mean, we have certain expectations here now that has been set by Ted, and looking forward to that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you May 3rd.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, next. Any other public comment? Nope. Okay. Adoption of meeting agenda. Would somebody like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Consent calendar. Would anybody like to pull anything? Steve?
I would like to pull consent agenda items 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.10.
I should have asked you what you did not want to pull. Okay, so would somebody like to move 7.1, 7.2, 7.7, 7.8, and 7.9?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On, oh, no, on consent. Is there any public comment on consent? No, seeing none. Thank you. Okay, Steve.
Well, on 7.3, 7.4, and 7.5, I just want to note, even though that we don't have the proclamations tonight, we are going to be honoring, and we've had these 3 citizens/organizations identified in Moraga, warranting recognition and award, and I just think we need to at least verbally acknowledge them tonight, that being Wendell Baker for Citizen of the Year, and also Child Day Schools Moraga as the Moraga Business of the Year, and Be the Star You Are as the nonprofit organization. I've done a little bit of research on that, and very impressive. All of them are very, very impressive. I've had a lot of dealings with Wendell, and I certainly think all 3 are very deserving, and I hope I didn't steal any thunder that you were going to address.
I've got thunder later on.
Okay.
Okay, how about the next ones? How about 7.10? I think that's what you have left.
No, 7.6.
7.6, okay.
7.6, my only question is, and I apologize, I met with the town manager yesterday. It includes a 20% contingency for consulting services on the lighting district. I'm not sure, do we really need a contingency on that? Or is that just, something we always do?
And in comes the Public Works Director to answer that question.
Hopefully it's a pretty straightforward, low-risk.
Sure. So, just want to make sure this is on. Can you hear me? Thank you. So, thank you, Vice Mayor. So, we're in a transition year with bringing on a new consultant, and to be able to deal with any of the transition between using the old consultant and our interim lighting district engineer, we have asked for a slightly larger contingency than what we would normally do.
Okay, thank you. That addresses that.
Okay, 7:10.
Okay, 7:10. What I want to communicate on this is great support, I think. And 7:10, for members of the audience who have not seen this, this is to sign a letter of support on behalf of the Town Council for Marin Clean Energy application to the Department of Energy, Grid Resilience and Innovation Partnerships grant application. And what this really deals with is the virtual power plant, where you basically have a distributed system of grabbing power from all sorts of different sources and managing that and optimizing that. That's sort of my summary description of it, and I think it's a great thing. This is an area that is, even as a layperson, I've seen tremendous growth in the last 10 to 15 years relative to electrical energy and people electrifying and using very creative ways to achieve electrification and overcome challenges. And so I'm just wanted to note my support of that.
Excellent, thank you. So, would someone like to move 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.10?
Madam Mayor, we do have a representative from MCE.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think we,
But I don't think,
we don't
I
have
think
questions.
we're good.
Well, do we have public comments? Do we-
Is there any public comment? Thank you, everyone. Is there any
Well-
public comment on 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.10? Just a minute. Is there any public comment on that?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do public comment? Okay, come right up. Thank you.
Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening, Mayor Onoda and Vice Mayor Wallachy. Thanks for being an advocate for clean energy and energy efficiency. My name is Sebastian Kahn. I'm our Senior Community Development Manager with MCE. We've proudly served the town of Moraga since 2018, have eliminated about 3,000 metric tons of carbon in your community since that time. So very appreciative of the fact that you all are supportive of our application to the Department of Energy. As Vice Mayor Wallachy mentioned, this is an initiative that will allow us to have more energy efficient technologies in the town of Moraga and really throughout MCE's service area. We are a not-for-profit clean energy provider and really excited to be in your community and always investing in new technologies like the VPP.
And one thing we might mention is that Moraga is deep green.
Correct.
Yes. Carrie.
And as Moraga's MCE representative, I really appreciate you asking us to act on this today. And I also am looking forward to the day where I don't just have to have the option of participating in Tesla's virtual power plant, that I have the opportunity to also participate alternatively in MCEs. So thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you, Council Member.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. All right, going back to moving 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, and 7.10.
I so move approval
Second.
as proposed.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, reports. Councilmember Sass.
Thank you, Mayor. The weather is beautiful. It's time to be outside, and it just so happens that we have in our own backyard a phenomenal Division I school that has top-notch athletics, despite the fact that it only has a few thousand students. That would be St. Mary's College, and I'm proudly wearing a jacket that the baseball team gave me. I want to remind everyone and ask everyone to please, as a regular thing, check smcgales.com, where they have a schedule of all the events, so you can pack up your family, go down to the campus for the weekend, and watch the games. So, for example, this Friday at 3, women's softball is playing Pacific. Saturday at noon, men's tennis is playing USF. Saturday at 1, men's rugby is playing Cal in the Elite Eight of the national championships for rugby. And then the next weekend, Friday at 2, men's tennis against Pepperdine, and Sunday the 21st at 1, baseball is playing USF. So bring the family, support our incredible asset, SMC, and have fun. It's really a fun way to spend some time. Thank you.
Gary.
I think I have anything to report tonight.
Okay, Steve.
Thank you. And I would like to add on to what Renata communicated, that on Saturday, I and the town manager got to watch the initial championship game for rugby at St. Mary's College, and the St. Mary's team won something like 78-7, and it was
wow.
It was very impressive. Some university called University of Grand Canyon or something.
Oh, who's ever heard of that?
Okay, and for the rest of it, I'm going to primarily talk about, on the 4th of April, I represented the mayor. It was my honor to represent the mayor at the April mayor's meeting. It was held in Danville. And the presentation that was given, and that's what I'm primarily going to talk about here for just a few minutes, was entitled Stormwater Funding Options Investigation Update. And this is directly tied into the consent agenda item 7.9. But we're talking at two different levels. 7.9 is down here, and last week we were talking up here because, partially because the title had the word funding in the title. So, including for town residents who might be listening, and Carl, who is here, I'm gonna give a real quick overview and then sort of set the scene and then wrap it up very quickly. So, 21 entities in Contra Costa County are involved with this stormwater issue. It's the 19 different cities, municipalities, and the county, and an organization called the Contra Costa Water Program. The Contra Costa Water Program is also an administrator, or the administrator for this conglomerate, and we get a single permit amongst all 21 for stormwater release. This permit is updated once every 5 years, and they communicated to us that every year it gets, every time that it gets updated, it becomes more stringent. Everyone is assessed in their taxes, and those assessments go to the Contra Costa Water Program, and then it gets distributed out to the members. The money is used for this, keeping the stormwater clean before discharge, getting it clean. So it's on the operating side, which includes, for example, vacuuming out leaves from drainage. It includes installing gates to prevent trash from going into the system. Those are a couple examples on that side. It also includes addressing potential pollutants. And finally, it also addresses monitoring. Okay, and the program keeps about 15% of the money that comes in to administer, and then they handle all of the negotiations and other activities. Okay, well, so the next permit is due to be enacted in 2027. And right now, they are running a deficit, annual deficit of about $12 million. And they're projecting it's going to go up to $26 million. Previously, they attempted a measure. It's not a lot of money per person, but it is 12 million deficit, 26 million and it's like 43 million right now that it's costing. So they are at this stage early, focusing on how we're going to address these deficits. And towards that objective, on the 24th of April, they're having a virtual workshop in which all the representatives from all the members or all the municipalities are invited, but it's at the staff level. So it's town managers and staff that are being invited. So I've made sure that Scott has that invite, and then it's up to staff to decide how to address that. But hopefully, Scott, if you can keep us updated on this. The problem is everyone's going to be asking for money. Mm-hmm. You almost want to say, well, everyone gather together and let's do one measure and see if we can't get it to go. Mm-hmm. By the way, there were two presenters for that, and one was Rinta Perkins, who is the CCC Water Program Manager, and the other was Allison Knapp, who is the CCC Public Works Deputy Director. It's funny she has the same last name.
What a coincidence.
I said good things about you, Sean. So, okay. Two other things real quick. I presume everyone has heard about the State Farm canceling, non-renewing fire insurance. And the vice mayor of Orinda, who was representing Darlene Yee, that night, announced that they're really getting hit hard. Over 50% of the insurance policies. And you may have seen Darlene, or the mayor of Orinda, on the news last night. Several of the nightly news programs, they featured Orinda and Darlene. Now, this is really getting serious, and the representative, she made this announcement. It didn't turn into an extensively long discussion, but Matthew Moore, representing Steve Glazerman, did talk about the fact that it is at the governor's level, along with the insurance commissioner and Steve Glazerman and others. And it does seem, I'm not going to go into some of the details that were shared, but it is just, more than just a little bit disturbing how it's being handled. We'll see where it all ends up. And finally, on June 27th, after we participate in the pickleball tournament, will be the Cal City's annual bocce ball tournament.
Gosh.
Oh, and we were spectacular last
Yeah, we really rocked.
I'm thinking,
I think we
I
got sole
am
possession
thinking,
of last place.
I am thinking
yes.
that maybe we could draft Carrie's daughters or kids because they certainly would not do any worse than
No.
I did last year.
Yeah.
Anyway, put it on your calendar.
That was big fun.
June.
It was fun.
It is good fun.
Yeah.
June 27th. Put it on your
June
calendar.
27th. Okay. All right.
And that also would be, selected staff members, especially if they know how to play bocce ball.
If they've played it once, then they qualify, or not.
Thank you, that's it.
Okay. Scott, our town manager, and myself met with Brother Thomas today and his top people, and we had really good conversations. And we have, I think, the best town gown relationships that I've ever seen. So well done. And I give a lot of credit to Scott. And here's some upcoming events that should not be missed. This Saturday from 11 to 12:30 at the library is Business and Nonprofit People of the Year. And Cynthia Bryan is the nonprofit business person. And her website, I was so impressed by, it says, to be a leader, you must be a reader. Read, lead, succeed. And then Emil Delgado Olson's Child Care School Business of the Year. He takes his job so seriously. Can you imagine having as many little 2-year-olds as he has? And he's been doing it for many years. He is clearly a kind person. And all of this, and the next one too, I've been thinking all year long, why is it that Moraga's kids succeed so well? What is that special sauce that makes them succeed? And I think, the read, lead, succeed, the daycare that's phenomenal, and then, of course, Wendell Baker with iKind, and that he's going to be celebrated Sunday from 4 to 6 at the Moraga Valley Presbyterian Church. And I think those things and all of the rest of the things put together make a huge difference in this community. So I just want to give a shout out to all of the parents, businesses, groups. What a great job you're doing with our children. And I want to thank Steve for going to the mayor's conference for me last time. I couldn't attend. And that's the end of my report. Would you like to give your report now or later?
I have one item.
Okay. I did. But maybe the rest of the people out in the audience need to see that mug.
So it was, we were there for a business meeting today, the mayor and I at the college, right? As we were reading, the mayor said, there's one thing you have to see. And it was the Museum of Art. I didn't know they had it. Well, I knew they had it.
Mike? Oh, you have to start all over.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, can you hear me? I forgot what I was saying. I was making a comment about being with the mayor. You were talking about the meeting we had today at leadership at the college. And then as on the way out, the mayor said, have you been to the Museum of Art? I said, no, I'm aware of it, but I haven't been there. So we went. It's truly impressive. Yeah. And they have a really cool Danish piece there, by the way. It was really cool. I just have one thing now, and then I'll do the announcements and stuff later. There was reference made to bocce ball and other things that elected officials do. But remember, your appointed staff, we are in competition from time to time. So back in April, the town of Moraga employees came in first place of all the municipal polling authority clients, right? I don't know, a dozen or so. We came in first. Well, the competition has started again for the month of April, and so far through the first week, Tiny and Mighty Moraga is in first place. So when the meeting's done, I have 7,000 more steps to go per day. My target's 10,000 a day. So if you see your town manager wandering around the town at night, that's why. Okay, that's.
And are council members not permitted to participate?
I don't know. But if you do, you have to do 10,000 steps a day. No, I don't know. We'll find out.
Let's see how many I've done.
Okay.
Yeah, you're checking mine right now.
So is there any public comment on our reports? Okay, seeing none. Next is public hearing. There's none. And number 10 is ordinance, resolutions, and requests for action. And number A is revised street rehabilitation cost-sharing policy. And the staff is Sean Knapp.
This way.
Oh, okay.
So, Madam Mayor, members of the council, my mic is on, correct? I'm going to do the lion's share of this, and Sean Knapp, our Public Works Director, he'll be available for engineering or technical questions, and of course, our town attorney, Denise Bazzano, she'll be available for legal questions. So as your staff, we are pleased and honored to be here to present this. This has been many years in the making. It's a watershed moment in many ways. And why so? So we'll go to the next slide. And I'm going to do my level best to take a very complicated, complex, and confusing issue and make it as simple and as clear as possible. So the outline for today is we're going to talk about five components here. Oh, good. I get the clicker pointer. Okay. We're going to start out right away, tell you what the recommendation is. We're going to define what sidewalk area is. That's going to be important to understand the topic. And we're going to talk about the benefits and the cost of what's being proposed. And we're going to talk about Measure K compliance, and then we'll articulate the next steps. Okay, so right out the chute, we're talking about what's called the Street Rehabilitation Cost Sharing Policy. For those who are watching, wondering what are we talking about, we'll get there. But the recommendation is quite simple, that whenever the town of Moraga undertakes a street rehabilitation project, so we're redoing a street, resurfacing or whatnot, the recommendation is when we're doing that, and if any of the sidewalk area needs to be repaired, and we're using Measure K funds, then the recommendation is that those funds be used to take care of the sidewalk area repairs that are needed as part of the street project. Okay, so what are we talking about when we say sidewalk area? I like this photo because does this have a laser on it? It does, but it doesn't work. Budget challenges with the clicker. Okay, so the sidewalk area is, if you see the two dotted white lines on the left and the right, we're talking about the public right-of-way. So the sidewalk area for this discussion is from the property line, the white dotted area to the left, all the way to where the street is, the dotted line on the right. And there's different types of right-of-way. This is a fairly typical one where you have the private property, then you have a sidewalk, you have the curb, gutter, apron, driveway. All of that's what we're going to refer to as the sidewalk area. And in this example, there's not a sidewalk, but the sidewalk area would be in between the white lines. So in this case, you have the culvert, the V-ditch, and the property line. The next one here shows this is, in some cases, we have this parking strip, if you will. So the sidewalk area would be white line to white line. So it does vary throughout the town. In the older parts of town, when it was just the road and a curb, it looks like this. So in all these examples, when the town goes in to redo a street, to do it right, you have to deal with the sidewalk area because they are connected. What I'd like to point out too about the city's past practice, there's a section in the report that goes into quite some detail about the history here. And we have an attachment C goes to the chronology. Let me just tell you this. So over the last 50 years, from the time the town incorporated, the policy has been very consistent with respect to the sidewalk area. Now we're talking the sidewalk, apron. That's the responsibility of the property owner to maintain it and to repair it, and the legal liability. When somebody buys a house is constructed, by way of example, the developer has to come in, build the house, but also take care of whatever the sidewalk requirements were at that time. If there was a sidewalk that was required, they would put that in. They would pay for it. It's reflected in the price of the home. The curb and the gutter, the apron and the driveway. There's confusion. I've been here a year, and I've heard so many different stories and perspectives. I'm not saying some are right or some are wrong, but it does illustrate just how confusing this topic is. But let's be clear. The policy, the official policy of the town of Moraga from the day it incorporated was that's the responsibility of the property owner. Now, there's some people say, no, that's not true. Legally, technically, it is. When the town incorporated, it had a continuing resolution to continue the policies of the county. And this is very common in Contra Costa County. I think, Sean, 16 of the 19 cities, or a very large number, do it this way. There are some where the city or the town is responsible. So I just want to make that clear. Where it gets confusing, and we delineated in the staff report, is with the curb and the gutter and the other areas. And the town has gone all over the map over the years about when the town will pay for it, when they won't. Right. Measure K then, and over the history of this town, our roads deteriorated. We have a weak economy. We don't really have a funding mechanism to deal with roads. So the streets just deteriorated, as did all the sidewalk area infrastructure components. So the leadership of the community over 10 years ago took the bull by the horns and said, okay, we got to come up with a funding mechanism to help deal with this. It was a thing called Measure K, a 1-cent sales tax. And that revenue source has been the savior to the Moraga's infrastructure. Now, every year the council can appropriate that money, which is now about $2.6 million a year, on anything you want. You're not required to use it for streets or stormwater, that type of thing. But the intent was that if possible, each council would appropriate as much as it can to deal with these type of issues. The lion's share of the money has gone to streets, but it's not required. It's very important. It's a general tax. Okay, so when the actual street project started in 2013, as the council and the community knows, our street, the pavement condition index was terrible, like in the high 40s, among the lowest in this county, if not all of California. So right away, we started using the money to redo the streets. And it's been very successful. Now we're up around 74 or some number, getting close to 76. The policy shifted. It said, look, if we're going in and we're redoing a street, we'll take care of the sidewalk area. Now, if you go through each year and you look at the work we didn't really tackle a lot of sidewalks. There were some. It was the areas were like what you're looking at here. It had a curb and a gutter. And so that cost was pretty manageable, and we used Measure K money to do that. In some cases, there were sidewalks that needed to be fixed, and we did that. But Sean, I believe each year was under $100,000, maybe some years a little bit more than 100. So it wasn't a big issue. We were doing it, but we were not really complying with our policy. But we made an exception and said, we're going to use Measure K dollars to do this work. However, the property owner is going to retain maintenance and repair and liability responsibility. All right, time goes by. The legal staff and others were pointing out this is not totally kosher here. We're going to have to deal with this, and the decision was made. And as we're going forward on the newer street projects, we're getting into community neighborhoods that had sidewalks, and the sidewalks needed to be dealt with. And so decision was made, we're going to stay with the town's policy, we're going to do the street project, and we'll enter into agreements with the residents that they either have to fix the sidewalk area on their own dime, on their own, or they can do it as part of the town project, and we'll give them a bill. And so we entered into agreements, 116 or so. That sounded right technically, but it was an administrative nightmare, because now I had engineers going out negotiating, if you will, or not really negotiating, but going house by house by house, explaining it to them. It was a very adversarial situation. And a number of residents say, wait, why do I have to pay for that? And so we would say, well, you've always had responsibility. Well, no, I didn't. But so it was just not a comfortable situation. So I started a year ago. This issue was coming to a head. We had angry residents. They were coming at you. They were coming at us. And everybody had different memories or perceptions of what the policy should be. So we put all of this on hold. We said, no more projects. All these agreements, we're going to stop. And we're going to do our due diligence, and we're going to figure out what the heck is going on. And it's taken us almost a year to do this. So we went back, went through all the ordinances, and Sean and his team have done a great job to figure it out. The chronology is articulated in the report. All right, so what to do? So there's different options, and we ultimately landed on what's in the report here. And it's saying, going forward, if there's a street project, as I articulated before, then we're recommending to allow Measure K money to be used for the sidewalk area projects, to the extent that we have funds available and it makes sense. This is not binding future councils to do this. We're merely giving the option and the capacity to do it. So it'd be subject to your approval every year to keep this policy in place. If you want to use Measure K money for other things, you're free to do that. Okay, then what do we deal with those residents that have reimbursement agreements with us? Because a number of them still owe us money. The recommendation is we repay those who've paid. And there's a small number where they just did the work on their own. We're recommending that we reimburse them. So we make them whole. We'll have to amend the agreements that we have with all of them to do that. And it'll take a few months to do that. So that's how all this would work. Okay, now what are the benefits of doing this? Clearly, reduced staff time spent on the reimbursement agreements. In the report, we talk about, we think that conservatively, it cost about $92,000 last time. But the next 2 years of projects are going to be more involved, and easily $100,000 to $150,000 of staff and legal time, probably much more than that. By doing what we're recommending, it'll be result in the more efficient use of staff time and increased focus on the projects, not enforcement. So more on implementation, not enforcement. And it promotes a positive relationship with our taxpayers, and that's what we want. Part 2 here, uniform, high-quality sidewalk area repairs. This is the first local government I've been in where the town wasn't responsible for this stuff. So if you drive around town, you'll see a hodgepodge of sidewalks, right? Because everybody does it differently. It really should be uniform, have the town coordinate it. It'll look right, and it will just be better. And increased ADA compliance for the disabled community, improved neighborhood connectivity, aesthetics, and property values. End of the day, this does add to property value. There's indisputable that. And then property owners will retain maintenance, repair, and legal liability. That's really important, and it's a benefit to the community as a whole. Okay, the flip side, what are the costs and concerns of this? Okay, full disclosure, by doing this, there will be upwards of $350,000 each year for the next 2 years that it will not be available for street projects because we'll be spending that money on the sidewalk repairs. So we're telling you, yeah, that's less money that would be available. Or less money for other CIP projects or services if the council wanted to spend that money on something else. And there is a potential risk to the town because we would be managing those projects, and we could argue, you could argue, hey, the property owner should do that. But we are in the risk business by providing municipal services and doing capital projects. And this will perhaps likely add confusion to residents who have sidewalks that are not getting a street redone, and they might wonder, well, you paid for the sidewalk over there, how come you're not doing it over here? We acknowledge that we'll have to deal with that. Just saying that that's one of the cons. Okay, the issue of Measure K raises its head. Compliance. Does or does this not comply with Measure K? It does comply. It fully complies with the language that was put to the voters as part of the ballot back in 2012. Keep in mind there'll be recurring oversight committee review. They meet in this room here. That group will go over this and make sure how we're spending the money. It complies with Measure K. And Measure K will be the major funding source. There are other funding sources, and by having the Measure K money go in there, if we're competing for other grants, this makes it more likely that we will be better, more competitive, so you can leverage those monies. So what type of other sources are we talking about? The federal government has ADA grants, the state gas tax funds, the state of California's Safe Routes to Schools grants, garbage fees that we get from Republic, and then other sources. Okay, so as we are getting to wrapping up here, so why now? Why should you do it today? It's a great opportunity to build on the past success of Measure K. I think most of your constituents would tell you, hey, it's working well. It's local money, we see how you're spending it. This supports the upcoming aggressive 2-year street rehabilitation program. I should have said this if I didn't before. What's planned for the next 2 years will be the largest capital improvement projects in the town's history since it incorporated. So Sean's crews are going to be spending millions, a lot of money, millions of dollars on street projects in the areas of town where people have been waiting very patiently. There's going to be a lot of activity. And this, by the way, these projects have been put on hold while we were trying to figure out what to recommend for you. So we're ready to go. We need to do it soon because the cost only goes up. This will avoid delays. Okay, that's my point. It delays the projects. It avoids delaying the projects further, and it will ensure that the pavement condition index gets better. Part two of why now. We really do need council. You need, the five on the council need to align the policy with practice. We've been out of sync. And it happens in local government, not by design, it just happens. But this is your chance to set it straight. And also to be in sync with the general plan update that's going on right now and the economic vitality element that we're working on. This fits nicely with that. Makes our neighborhoods safer, it has a town-wide benefit. And then finally, it promotes a better future for Moraga. So the recommendation, again, there's three components. One, staff is recommending that you adopt the cost-sharing policy resolution. That's one of your attachments. And there's an Exhibit A, which has good details about how it would work. And then we do need to amend the municipal code to incorporate the new policy. So the way that would work is, if you're supportive of this, you'll introduce the amendment tonight, and then in 2 weeks, we'll come back with a public hearing and for you to do the final vote. And then the last thing is the CEQA compliance. You need to make the exemption finding. So next steps then, if you agree with that recommendation, the next council meeting will have that public hearing that we mentioned. We'll also have a budget amendment in front of you with Measure K's budget for the beginning of next fiscal year in July 1. We need the budget authority to pay those folks back, 100 and what is on there, 150,000, some number like that. And by the way, we have the money to do that. That money will not be taken from any other service or program. And then we'd also need your authorization to go work with the residents and amend their reimbursement agreements to allow for this. I'm sorry for all the details, but you need to know. And then on the agenda, the next meeting will be authorization to go out to bid for those capital projects I talked about, all the street projects for the next 2 years. Oh, actually, you'll be awarding, right? Awards, yeah, the bids are coming in. And then the new ordinance would go into effect 30 days after, late May. And then in June, the construction projects would start early, and over the summer, then we would be sending out the checks to everybody. So that's the staff presentation, and we're available if you have questions or comments for us.
Any questions? Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's basically two questions, or well, actually more. One, just letting everyone know that I spent quite a bit of time with both Director of Public Works and the town manager on this this action, and they were able to address all my questions. Most of the questions were at a lower level of detail. And my question, though, is just confirming, tonight, what we're being asked to do is simply approve the resolution, and are we saying anything about CEQA tonight?
We should be.
Yes, so the council is being asked to adopt a resolution and then introduce the ordinance. And for both of those actions, you would be confirming that the actions are exempt under CEQA.
Okay, well, I don't see any reference to CEQA in the resolution itself.
It's not a resolution, it's a separate action.
Yes.
Separate action.
You have three things you're going to
Okay, so that's where you're focused, are those three actions.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions? Yes, Renata?
Scott, thank you for a really good presentation. Is there a revised resolution or not?
No, but there's a paragraph in the resolution and in the ordinance that makes reference to residents may not fully understand the policy, and I've heard from one or more of you about that, and if you want to remove those paragraphs, you can direct us to do so.
Okay, thank you.
And we can call that out at the right time for you.
So Scott, I just want to just cut to the chase of what this is about tonight. So really, this is not about changing or diminishing the council's discretion, authority to decide how public funds are used, right?
Correct.
This does not bind future councils.
No.
And this simply is kind of rearranging and making more consistent the relationship between the town and property owners with respect to sidewalk repairs where we are already doing pavement work on the neighboring street, and trying to align practice with policy, which have been out of whack. Is that fair?
Yes, generally speaking, yes.
Okay, all right. So, so in terms of, so really what it is doing is giving each council, this council and future councils, more flexibility, in a sense, in addressing the facts and circumstances before it at the time.
Yeah, it's giving you, well, it clarifies the policy and it gives you enhanced capacity.
Right. Thank you. That's
yeah.
a better way of putting it. Okay, thank you.
Carrie?
Yeah, I know that I've heard some questions regarding the appropriate use of Measure K funds and what may or may not have been said about Measure K in the past, how it may have. I'm just wondering what due diligence staff may have done to communicate with some of our the previous leaders of Moraga who may have been around at the time that Measure K was being lobbied for, to just relay what some of their sentiments may have been if you did ask those questions.
Right, and both Sean and I did a lot of due diligence. We wanted to understand it. And part of that due diligence was to talk to the leaders in the community that worked on the Measure K ballot measure. And I did talk to some of those folks, and I did get some really, and I was trying not to lead the witness. It was like, okay, here's the situation, and let me just say strong support for what's being recommended. We did our best to make sure they were fully aware, so if they had any concerns, they would be here. But I did get some really positive support, if you will, from a former mayor and others. So I don't want to play politics with it, but I was told what's recommended fully complies with not just the literal intent of Measure K, but the spirit of it.
Is there any public comment?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if I may. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Scott. Truly awesome. I'm Carl Davis. I know I should introduce myself. I would like to say that this proposed change in our practices makes great construction sense. The possibility of having a different contractor responsible for the sections of sidewalk along an entire other contractor's paving project is regrettably silly. And I do realize from the report that very few property owners chose to hire their own contractor, but the lack of uniformity and consistency with codes and specifications could potentially be huge, and a liability for the town. It makes a construction sense as well. You can't remove the sidewalk, curb, and gutter without touching the street, and you can't remove the street without touching the curb and gutter. That can't happen. And so not only could you have multiple contractors working alongside each other, they'd also have to be coordinated with each other, which might actually impact your staff's ability to oversee the job. So this is a good constructability opportunity. It makes the actual construction of our roads much more likely to be successful. By having more uniformity and more code compliance we make those alternative sources of funding more likely. If you put in a sidewalk that is not going to meet ADA compliance, it might be hard to get ADA funds to pay for your sidewalk. And that's pretty straightforward. I like the compromise between town-driven projects that in some way are imposed upon homeowners to their benefit and drive an expense at a time they have no control over, with homeowner responsibility for pavements that they can budget and anticipate. That's a nice splitting of those two worlds and separating of cause. It may facilitate, as you say, the relationship with the members of this community. I think that is a strong, strong selling argument. It also sets the stage for the success in this next and major push in a robust road building, road repair program, and sets it well. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And thank you, Steve, for your work on that. Thank you, Sean.
Carl,
Madam
thank
Mayor.
you. It's so nice to hear what a pro has to say about this. We really appreciate your conversation.
I've been pretty quiet for 1.5 years now, but I've been working on this one.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, any comments? Renata?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. First, Carl, thank you. That was very helpful to hear from you on this. As someone who's very invested in this town, has contributed so much, and has an engineering perspective, I really appreciate your comments. Sean, Scott, thank you for your, I mean, a year ago, this council provided direction that we wanted to do something different. And your due diligence and out-of-the-box thinking has brought us to the point we are tonight, and I really appreciate it. I know it took a lot of work. And I also want to thank our residents, especially Mark Hoogs and others, who brought this to our attention, who have been helpful with their courteous and professional input, and have been patient and flexible. And I'm hopeful that this, if we adopt this change, that it addresses your needs. I think this makes imminent sense to adopt this change. It promotes consistency and quality of repairs and construction, as Carl pointed out. It allows our staff to focus on core infrastructure work instead of managing and policing agreements and chasing after residents for payment. That's not what our engineers are supposed to be doing. They should be doing engineering and frees them to do that and to do it well. It's consistent with this community's desire to continue to enhance our infrastructure and to improve the aesthetics of this town. And it allows for a positive shift in the relationship between our residents and town staff, away from conflict and towards partnership and collaboration. It's, as Scott mentioned, consistent with our priority to improve pedestrian safety and to promote walking as an alternative to car trips, which is something that I know is embedded in our housing element and will be in our update to the general plan. And then this promotes consistency between policy and practice. I think when you don't have consistency between policy and practice, it sows confusion, it sows bad feelings, it sows resentment, and just creates a lot of work and conflict that is unnecessary. And finally, I think I really like the part about repaying those folks who have already invested, because I think that's fair, and I think it's equitable. So I think this is a very judicious and thoughtful use of Measure K funds, and it benefits the community as a whole. So I'm fully in support.
Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing, not to toot my own horn, but I was part of the group that lobbied for Measure K. My part was small. It was one of the neighborhood walkers. And I'm really, I echo the thanks that Renata provided to staff and also to Carl
all of it, very salient. And, the work that you guys had to put into this to bring it to fruition of what was a very tough situation. And I can speak to that from actual experience of being contacted by very unhappy residents in the 2022 timeframe and meeting with them. And, at that point, the direction given with regard to policy was pretty strong. And, I had to toe the line in as most amenable manner I could and explain, including the precedents of all the other towns in Contra Costa, not understanding the nuance of why you're doing construction versus normal times. And it was a bit embarrassing to have them point out to me sections of sidewalk and curbs that had been done for neighbors at no cost to them. Sean and I were together at a meeting out in the Camino Pablo area one night, and it was difficult. And Renata, I was going to also use the word consistency, because that's really what we're driving towards now. And I absolutely support that. I'm very happy that we're getting this rationalized, and including the work scope and the pavement management program. Let's get beyond this inconsistent application. But I also recognize, well, first of all, my concerns about the fiscal impact are not completely put at ease, because I recognize, we've got future fiscal challenges, and we haven't yet modeled how we're going to handle the next 5 to 10 years yet. So until we get there, my concerns will continue. And I also note that, we now have specific criteria, which is great, and it's going to go in policy, but it's still going to require judgment by staff in terms of a number of areas, and some of the things that we talked about yesterday when I met with Sean and Scott. I want to, for any residents who might be listening, work with town staff, give them, benefit of the doubt. They really do try to be fair and balanced and help you. I've consistently seen that. And, we, the members of the town council, are here to represent you. So if they're, you have access both to the town manager and to us to assist to make sure that things are appropriately addressed. So I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Carrie.
Yeah, one of the things that we've been working on is envisioning updates to our general plan. And as one of those things, we've been working on a set of principles, the guiding principles, which we talked about recently with the Planning Commission, to guide that effort. Town Manager, can you help me remember generally the principle that's regarding encouraging a more walkable community?
The principle.
I think it's one of the guiding principles that was at the beginning. Remember we had a vision statements, and then we had principles, and we.
Was that before my time, or was I here?
Oh, yeah.
It's part of our general plan update.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll phrase it. So
I don't have the planning director.
It's always been intended to be walkable, Moraga.
So
Yes.
as we are engaging in a lot of new development.
Yeah.
205 new units of housing to come online soon. A lot of things that we've heard from folks as we've been embarking on our new housing element is the need to encourage a more walkable pedestrian-friendly, cyclist-friendly community. It's hard to do that if you don't have consistency in sidewalks.
Yeah.
There's areas that I've seen, where there's gravel pits that are interrupting sidewalk areas.
You're making the attorney very nervous.
The comments that I heard from Carl, my former colleague, I think are really sound, that it makes no sense whatsoever to have a serial project committed potentially by several different contractors, instigated by the town, having to be monitored by scarce staff to ensure that everything is done correctly to comply with a public need, which is to construct a road or to repair a road. While I would also argue constructing the sidewalk is also a public need, as that is another way that we are intending folks to get around. I think that this is a consistent policy with Measure K. I think it's consistent with what we've envisioned for our general plan and one of our guiding principles. And I'm really glad that we're able to make this next step. I know we're going to be making, no pun intended, a lot of people happy. So I'm really looking forward to getting this done. Awesome.
So one last comment, we're paving the way, haha, for the future Measure K. So would somebody like to move this? There's 3 parts. Renata, would you like to do that?
Sure. So part 1 would be to adopt the resolutions?
That's right.
It can all be done in one motion. You could just read all 3 parts and then,
Where are the 3 parts?
and the recommendation.
I will. Madam Mayor, can I interject one?
Kerry said he'd do it.
Okay, I would like to propose, before we make a motion, I would like to propose a change to the ordinance. First one on, that amends.
I can help you get there if you like.
Okay, the first one that allows for the use of Measure K, I would like to take out in its entirety the whereas that says in some cases private property owners do not fully understand their maintenance responsibilities.
Right.
I do not think that is either necessary or accurate. So I don't think, and I don't see how it enhances the resolution. So I would strike that in its entirety in the first resolution and in the second resolution.
So it's, for council, can I interject? Madam Mayor, members of council. So for the resolution, which is attachment A, that would be the third whereas. And then coincidentally, attachment B, which is the amended ordinance, that's also the third whereas. So we will remove the third whereas in both of those documents.
Well, if my fellow council members agree.
I was about to say, if it's the direction.
Okay.
It's unanimous.
Okay, so with those changes, I move that we adopt a resolution revising the Town of Moraga Street Rehabilitation Cost-Sharing Policy to allow for the use of the town's Measure K sales tax funds to pay for sidewalk area repairs, which are part of the town street rehabilitation projects, while retaining private property owner obligations set forth in the Moraga Municipal Code pertaining to the public right-of-way, and to introduce an ordinance amending the Moraga Municipal Code Title 12, Chapter 12.04 Sidewalks to incorporate the revised street rehabilitation cost-sharing policy and other conforming amendments, and that we approve that this action is exempt from review under CEQA.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's oh, we need a roll call vote. Okay. Renata?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Kerry?
Aye.
Myself, yes. So it's unanimous. All right. Next is discussion items.
Well, we still have to do the,
She did all 3.
she did all 3, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Roll call was just for the ordinance, right?
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Can-
Number 11,
Can I just, Madam Mayor, I'd like to interject. Sorry. I just want on the record to say thank you to Sean and his team and the attorneys, Michelle and Denise, and then every other employee who played a role in this. Just thank you to the entire organization for their patience. There were a lot of demands put on a lot of people.
All right, number 11 is discussion items, and I don't see any. Number 12, council request for future agenda items. Is there any? No? Okay. Number 13 is communications. Seeing none. Number 14, town manager follow-up and announcements.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, no additional follow-up from tonight. Carl, thank you for the comments and support. We appreciate that. I do have some stuff to point out, some exciting things that are coming up. Get my notes here. So today was an exciting day for those who like parks and recreation and restrooms. So the electricity was reestablished at Commons Park for the restroom project. So I'm still waiting for a first flush celebration, but the staff was not supportive of that.
Mayor, may I establish that the protocols are very clear as to who is in charge of ceremonial duties.
Okay.
You mentioned last meeting a ceremonial flush,
Yeah.
and therefore I think it's the protocol is very, very clear.
But be that as it may, this is my item on the agenda. I just wanted to tell you in the community that that facility should be up and running tomorrow. Everything should be back to normal. We apologize for the fencing and the inconvenience and the backhoe that was there. So you talked about all the walking. So I have 7,000 more steps tonight. I'm going to try to walk down there to look at it, and then I'll look at it tomorrow. But we appreciate your patience on that. So a lot of fun things coming up. Touch a Truck will be on May 4th. The summer registration started today for those who want to register for Parks and Rec stuff coming up. A lot of really cool things coming up. St. Mary, tomorrow night, for those who live near St. Mary's College, they're going to have a community event. I forget the time. I'm going to be there. I think it's
6:30.
6:30. So if that wasn't plugged already tonight, that's tomorrow, and the community is welcome to attend. The college wants your input, feedback, questions about the proposed lights for the softball field, baseball field, and the stadium.
Is it at the Soda Center?
It's at
De La Salle Hall.
Yeah, Haggerty Lounge at LaSalle Hall. I was there today. We had a pre-meeting today. So that's coming up. And I think that's about it. The next council meeting will be on 2 weeks from today on the 24th. We'll come back with the hearing, and so you get a chance to vote on the second reading of the street item. And then the timers are here now, so you can see those. And then interesting that today is April 10th, right? So it was 1 year ago today, April 10th, 2023, that I started. That was my first day. And it was a sunny, warm day then, and today is a sunny, warm day. So I'm honored to be here. It's a great organization to be part of. But I'm especially honored that we resolved a complicated, complex issue on the 1 year anniversary day. So those are the town manager comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Very cool. We're adjourned.
What? It's arrived 1 year. Yeah.
Oh, the other one didn't have their logo yet.